Welcome to Financial Focus, brought to you by GulfCoast Financial Services founder and CEO, John Kuykendall. John and his team of financial, legal, and tax professionals have provided North Florida savers and investors sound, comprehensive financial guidance for over 25 years, helping you to achieve important life and planning goals. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and tune in for more Financial Focus by visiting GulfCoastFinancial.net.
And welcome into the program. This is Financial Focus, brought to you by the best of the best in financial services, as named 7 years and running by the readers of the Lake City Reporter, the team from GulfCoast Financial Services and sister company GulfCoast Tax Advantage. With us, as always, we have your resource for that common sense approach to planning, providing guidance and perspective, the founder and CEO of GulfCoast Financial Services, John Kuykendall. John, always a pleasure.
Hey, Peter, it's great to be here. I'm really excited. It's been a great week, and we got another good week coming ahead of us. So I'm just really excited. And, you know, Peter, as we've talked, this is our 30th year. So I'm really excited about that. The fact that, you know, a lot of small businesses don't make it. And the fact that we've been able to do it for 30 years is just, I think, an outstanding feat. And especially in the community that we're in, that God knows I love them, but we're surrounded by Edward Jones reps. So I'm just really excited that we've been able to keep our head above water and be here.
No small feat at all. 30 years in business, GulfCoast Financial Services. And John, your experience in financial services actually extends beyond even that. You were in the banking industry previously, but this has been 30 years as a firm, helping individual savers and investors get the guidance that they're looking for, answers to the questions, and identifying the strategies that are going to help them achieve their goals.
Yeah, Peter, that's right. 20 years in banking before we started this. So, you know, I'm as old as dirt and look at, but, you know, this is one business that as long as you still have a good mind, you can do forever. And I have no plans of quitting. I love it. I love coming into the office, working with my son and my grandson. And I also love dealing with the clients we have. They're all wonderful. And I'm just so happy that we're able to give them a little bit of advice and hopefully make their retirements and their financial futures stronger.
One of the most rewarding parts in being an advisor for individuals, helping them achieve their financial goals, is the level of confidence that you can help them with in dealing with their money and their financial decisions and sometimes financial challenges. The planning is what allows us to overcome those with confidence. And ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to get that plan put together, always like to start the program by reminding you that the team from GulfCoast Financial Services offers you that opportunity to get a plan or to review a current plan. Make sure that you are heading in the right direction. All you need to do to take advantage of that opportunity is pick up the phone, give them a call, 386-755-9018, 386-755-9018. And John, on today's program, I'm going to talk about some common financial mistakes. Now, I know me personally, I've got a whole book of woulda, shoulda, coulda, done it differently. And I think that everybody does. I mean, looking back as you've helped your clients reviewing their plans, I'm sure you've run into a time or two maybe where somebody says, I wish I had done this differently. If only I knew then what I know now.
Well, usually that's me, Peter, because if I knew now what I should have done then, I know now. And having gone through retirement myself, Social Security, Medicare, you know, this is a complicated situation. It's just not easy as it used to be to retire. Everything is intermingled. Consequences we make every day affect whatever we do. And as we always talk, and you'll hear us say more and more this year, that, you know, we need to be proactive in retirement and looking at our taxes, looking at our Social Security, then we need to be reactive. And unfortunately, that's one of the mistakes I think that a lot of people make, is they sit back, think that this is going to be an easy thing I can do, and I can do it myself. And really, I want to tell you something, everybody needs help. And we've gone through it, we've done it. We live it every day, and we're more than happy to work with anybody out there working on their taxes, their Social Security planning, their retirement planning. We love to do that. That's what we do best.
Well, retirement, probably one of the most challenging things that we can do financially. And unfortunately, if we make several of these mistakes, it can make even that much more challenging. So we want to try to avoid some of these mistakes that we'll talk about on today's program, in the hopes that you, ladies and gentlemen, will be a little bit more proactive or identify where shortcomings and missteps have happened for others, so that you can avoid those mistakes. Kind of number one on the list, I think, for everyone, John, is simply not saving enough. You mentioned the difficulties with today's retirement versus maybe a generation or two ago. They had a different support system for retirement, a different structure for how to retire that isn't so common or prevalent today. It makes saving more that much more important, because it's kind of up to us. It's on our own shoulders.
Well, that's right. In the 80s, the government changed the rules and came out with a 401k. And so the savings for retirement is pretty much our job. Social Security is not supposed to be your main source of retirement. And if you're not putting up, and unfortunately, it's the wonderful power of compound interest. If we start early and that money begins to compound, we can have a nice retirement, but we need to start early. The longer we start, the more money we have to put up, but because of that, people don't really, one of the reasons people don't understand, how much money do I need? We're going to live longer. We proved that. The government, as you know, came out with new required minimum distribution tables, which require us to take out less each year now, because we're going to live longer. And so with this long retirement, which our fathers didn't have to worry about, their fathers didn't have to worry about, because they didn't live that long. We're now in the 90s and 100s. And so you've got to plan for that retirement, and you got to plan for a long retirement. But how much money do you need? You need to come in and do an income plan. Let us tell you how much money you're going to need, how much money you need to save. One of the worst things we can do is not be ready. The second worst thing we can do is be so ready that we didn't live our life when we were younger, because we tried to save too much and we didn't enjoy our kids and our younger life when we could do things.
Yeah. Well, they say life is short, but it's the longest thing that any of us will ever do. However, we've got to not be afraid to spend. That kind of be a tightrope. We can easily swing on one side of that balance or the other, not saving enough and living just for today, and spending and having maybe too much fun along the way, or at least spending too much, because we don't want to trade our time for money forever. At some point in time, whether it's by choice or by force, we're not going to be able to work for that paycheck and earn that paycheck any longer. And so we need to save. But on the other side, money is not necessarily the most important thing. The plan is what's going to give us the confidence in our spending and our ability to have fun and enjoy life along the way.
That's right, Peter. The income plan is going to help us get to the point where we're comfortable. We know that we're doing all the right things. We got the right amount of life insurance. We're building that tax-free income. We've got the annuities with the pension income, so that we have a guaranteed check coming in every month. And so with that, it will give us the confidence to spend more in our younger years, but at the same time, know we're going to have enough. The thing is that while we're living longer, we're not going to be able to work forever. And so there has to come a point when you say, I'm ready for retirement and I've got this much money saved up and I'm going to have to live on it. And when you start paying yourself those checks, let's hope they're enough for you to have the kind of retirement you want.
Yep. Well, you mentioned the power of compounding interest and the importance of saving early. I actually recently got the opportunity to speak with a few different high school classes, and I was speaking to that very point, and I was showing them that if they started saving and maxing out their Roth IRAs from age 20 to age 29 for 10 years and then stopped, versus if they missed those 10 years, started at 30 and saved all the way until they're 65, that they end up with more money because of the compounding interest with just saving for those first 10 years. It's really amazing when you see that growth curve. Now, a mistake here on your list, beating ourselves up for what we didn't know, I had to admit to that class that I was actually in that second category. I was more of along the lines of the one that didn't really start saving until my late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah. Peter, that's what we all did because we didn't know. And so while it was one of those situations where we didn't understand compound interest, nobody explained it to us. That's why it's so important for you to get a coach. You have a football team, you got a coach. You got a tennis team, you got a coach. Why not have a coach for your retirement? Somebody that helps you, that answers those questions for you so that you can not make the mistakes that they've already seen other people make and they've made themselves. I've made plenty of mistakes. I took Social Security at full retirement age because I was full retirement age. I could make as much money as I wanted. I decided to take it. I could have made $1,500 more a month if I had waited. I didn't need the money, but it was what I did because that was what we didn't have the calculators at the time to show us the difference. We have that software technology. I was talking to someone today about the vaccine, how long it took us to develop the polio vaccine, and look at how long it took us to develop the COVID vaccine. So, technology is a wonderful thing, and we have the technology in investing and in financial services to give you the advice you need now. And why not use a coach? Why not come to us or some other advisor and get the answers? That's why we need a coach.
But when we make mistakes, John, we can't beat ourselves so much that we prevent further progress. And in a sports game, I've seen it where one player makes a mistake or something goes wrong, and then it seems like the rest of the game crumbles based off of that one instant. And in our financial lives, we can't have that happen. Sure, we can always look back because hindsight is almost perfect vision, if not better than 2020, and say, well, I should have bought that stock then. I should have sold that fund then. But if we allow that to prevent further progress, that's the real travesty in it.
Well, yeah, if I'd have bought Apple, I'd have been a billionaire now. But I didn't buy Apple, and so that's past tense. I have to worry about what am I going to do today and what am I going to do tomorrow. You can't let that bad decision or that mistake, and you're going to make plenty of them, beat you up to the point that you're inactive. You can't be like the individual that was in the money market account for 20 years because he lost money. You have to invest. You have to invest, and you have to do the right things in order to have the kind of retirement that we all want. And we want good retirements. We want to be able to go places. We want to be able to buy the things we want. We want to be able to live our lives to the fullest. And that's why we need a good retirement.
Well, we don't want to make decisions based on past performance. And that speaks directly to the unpredictability of the future of the market or the future of companies or the future of stocks. But John, one kind of oversight that I have seen is not realizing what has been important in the past as we move to retirement. That's one area where we really need to look at what has made us successful to this point. It's been the paycheck, it's been the income, and yet so often we forget to take the necessary steps to replace that paycheck and income in retirement.
Well, that's right, Peter. Today, there are certain ways that we can get tax-free income in retirement through life insurance. We can take care of our long-term care needs through life insurance and insurance annuities. There are the things that we can do that we couldn't do before. We didn't have these products 10, 15 years ago. We didn't have these products really 5 years ago that did the things that we do today. And so we have to take advantage of those, and we have to make decisions not based on what was available last week or last year, but what's available now and how I'm going to make my life better. And, I always laugh when I get a call and the client tells me, well, my neighbor has bought this mutual fund and they're making 30% and I'm only making 10%. And then, you go find out about it and it's really, they're not the same. It didn't even make that much, but everybody likes to look good. So you can't base your decisions on what your neighbor or what the guy at the grocery store is telling you, because you need to take, you need to have that coach give you the advice, and lead you down the road, and base decisions on what's available today that's going to make my life better with that income plan. Everybody has to have that income plan. We have to have sustainable, paycheck every year. I was talking to Belinda in the office yesterday, and if I had $100,000, and if I'm 65, the insurance company is going to pay me about 5.7%, 5.5% on that money for life, and I can never run out of it. Why would I not want to do that?
Yep. Again, there's the tools, the technology available today that maybe was not available 10, 15 years ago. The financial options have improved out there. We need to take a fresh look at those every so often, regardless, but certainly in a time where so much has changed, like the last decade or two. And again, if you'd like to take a fresh look, pick up the phone, give GulfCoast Financial Services a call, 386-755-9018, 386-755-9018. John, I see on your list of, unfortunately, 2 common financial mistakes. Don't try to time the market. Now, I would say, though, that I think this is one area where technology has maybe worked against us, because with all of the new technology, with the ease and the access of accessing the market, and especially during COVID, I heard of an awful lot of people who decided to sit home and try to be day traders, essentially timing the market. And for a while, I heard lots of stories how they were doing fantastic, and then all of a sudden, crickets. Not so much of that anymore.
Well, I think there for a while during COVID, especially when we had the meme stocks and we had the chat rooms, and everybody was sitting home looking at their computer, didn't have anything else to do, and they were in these chat rooms, and so they decided to buy GameStop, and everybody went into GameStop, and yes, they made money, but those days are over. And as you saw, that didn't really pan out. I know when Robinhood came out, everybody thought their stock was going to go sky high, and it hasn't really done that much. The last time I looked at it, it was still below the offering price when it came out. So, that's a different scenario from what we are normally talking about. The last thing we want to do is, nobody can try to time the market. I don't care how good the sophistication of your computer system or how good your technology. There's too much information. There's too many places to go now, and you can get bogged down trying to make a decision when really you should be invested based upon your risk tolerance, because there's a number that you can sleep with. And when you try to time the market, you're going to be staying up 24 hours a day worried about that portfolio. And I don't know about you, Peter, but that's the last thing I want to do. And I want to set my parameters, know what my risk is, and then I'm going to leave my portfolio alone. I'm going to watch it, watch market conditions. And as you know, at GulfCoast Financial, we are reactive. We do monitor our portfolios constantly, but we don't try to time the market. That's the last thing you want to do.
Well, understanding your risk tolerance is one of the keys for that. And two of the next mistakes: not taking enough risk, or not taking any risk, or taking too much risk. If we don't understand the risk tolerance, we can easily fall on one side of that or the other. And then the plan is off balance to reflect our true desires and our goals with our money.
Well, that's true, Peter. And we can, if we don't have a risk tolerance number, then like I say, you're going to stay up at night. You're not going to be able to sleep because you're going to be worried about your portfolio. Everybody has a risk number. My risk number is higher than somebody else's risk number, and your number is higher than mine because you're younger than I am. But we do have a number that we'll live with, so we need to know what that is. I can't put my money in a savings account and expect it to grow, because if I'm at 1%, Peter, it's going to take 72 years for my money to double. So I don't have that long. So I'm not going to sit there at 1%. Now, 5 or 6, 7%, 10 years. Yeah, I can live with that. I'm on a 10-year plan. And so, if my money can double, if I've got 100 and in 10 years, it's going to be 200, I'm happy with that. But you can't afford to sit it in something that's not going to be earning you interest, or sit it in an account that's not paying you anything. But on the other hand, if I put it in something that earned 30% last year and it loses 30% this year, then where am I really going? I'm not going forward.
Right.
And so we have to be careful.
And if we did see those kind of significant gains in an up market, it does probably indicate that you have a large amount of risk in that position. You could just as easily see things go the other way if the markets turn and are in a different direction. John, a couple more on your list is not optimizing Social Security, not focusing on retirement as an income issue, not having those legal documents in place. But the one I think we could finish up with is not accounting for Murphy's Law. What can go wrong often does, and usually right at the wrong time. When we put the plan together, that's sort of you and your team's job during the planning process, is to really act as though Murphy's Law is kind of the rules and the guidelines by which we plan by.
That's right, Peter. And, if something happens, a death in the family, a baby, who knows what it is, a fire, and it wipes you out, and the insurance company, you have the deductibles and all that, then those things we plan for. We want you to have a reserve fund. We want you to have a bucket. We want you to have a now bucket, a soon bucket, and a later bucket. And we're going to work those three buckets for you. And, it's like a three-legged stool. All three legs have to hold you up. So if you cut one leg off and you sit down on the stool, you're going to fall off. So we want to make sure that we've covered as many of the contingencies as we can. Long-term care, some point down the road, we're all going to need long-term care. We want to cover that for you. We want to make sure the state documents that you've got those. We want to make sure if something happened to you, that we can handle your spouse, that we know what we're supposed to do for her or him. Those are the things that we try to take care of. We try to make sure we try to cover as many contingencies in the plan as we can.
As we look back and consider mistakes, we probably all have at least a handful of them that we've made, but we don't want that to prevent further financial progress. And if we can, we'd like to learn from the mistakes others have made and then avoid them, because we don't have the time or luxury to say, well, retirement, didn't do it right the first time. Better luck next time. Let's try again. You only really have one shot at that ideal retirement. So the key is to avoid as many of these common financial mistakes as possible. John Kuykendall and the team at GulfCoast Financial Services, they can help you to identify some of the common mistakes and some of the uncommon mistakes so that you can avoid them. If you'd like that help and assistance, if you'd like that detailed forensic financial analysis, really diving into each account, each position, each statement, and making sure it's doing its best for you to achieve your goals, pick up the phone and give a call. 386-755-9018. That's 386-755-9018. 386-755-9018, or you can visit online, GulfCoastFinancial.net, GulfCoastFinancial.net. John, always appreciate the time. Never a mistake to tune into Financial Focus.
Never a mistake, Peter. We're always here for you. Thank you. Have a good week.
Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and tune in for more Financial Focus by visiting GulfCoastFinancial.net. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only, without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for a particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature and not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs. Early withdrawals may subject the owner to penalties, fees, or taxes. John Kuykendall is registered with and securities are offered through Kovac Securities, Inc., member FINRA SIPC, found online at www.kovacsecurities.com. Advisory services are offered through GulfCoast Financial Services, Inc., a registered investment advisor in Florida. GulfCoast Financial Services, Inc. is not affiliated with with Kovac Securities Inc. or Kovac Advisors Inc. Past performance is not indicative of future results. All investing involves risk. Investment decisions should be based on your own goals, time horizon, and tolerance for risk. Due to various factors including changing market conditions and/or applicable laws, the content may no longer be reflective of current opinions or positions.